Wow. Last night on Surviving the Survivor, two retired Pima County sheriffs and lieutenants here on the right, in the blue t shirt and with the baseball cap, are talking about the complete lack of confidence in Sheriff Nanos. They are both retired, but they are still friends with the current president of the board, Aaron, and he is going to speak at the town hall meeting along with others I'm going to show you briefly as they really talk about the sheriff's reputation, how he lied on his resume, and everything else. So let's watch this clip, and then I'm going to take you right to the town hall so you can hear the pleading from the past sheriff and active members and retired members of the police force begging for the town to reinvestigate the Sheriff Nanos, as they claim had he not lied on his resume, he wouldn't have even become the sheriff today. Let's watch together.
Bob, there is a question from Lee in Tennessee. Your thoughts on Sheriff Nanos' local radio interview? Did he do? I don't know if I'm not aware of this interview, but is he doing a lot of local press now?
No, not a lot. Over the weekend, I think it was actually on Friday afternoon, he did a podcast locally. I'm not aware. I'm not sure how much you are aware of kind of the last week's issues that have again arisen with him that have become more apparent because of the investigation. But there's some questions about his resume, some questions about his integrity. Quite honestly, he lied in a deposition 4 months ago about his previous work history in El Paso and suspensions and things like that. So it's just another black eye on the department because of him. I've listened to most of that interview. It's out there. I think it's the Buckmaster show, but he does his wordsmithing and try and covers his tracks. But the community is kind of fed up with it to the point that an official recall has actually started on the sheriff's part. Other folks in the community outside of the sheriff's department pushed the effort, and the signature drive has begun for an actual recall of him in his position. So it's all that being said, you talk about frustration. Folks, investigators, cops, from the newest street cop to the most experienced investigator, they want leadership. They want people to look at us as an agency, as a community, and say, these folks are squared away. And that's where the problems are lying, I think, in this investigation. It's not what the guys and gals are doing. It's the appearance, and that wears on them. When they keep seeing the sheriff go on TV and contradict his own statements and make statements and leave things out and call things clerical errors, and at the same time, you're bending over backwards, you're going days with 2 or 3 hours of sleep. That's where the frustration sets in. And you might even hear it in my voice, even being gone, because this isn't new. This has been going on for years, but it's now being brought to the forefront, and the nation, the world is now seeing it. So there's a lot. That's where the problems, in my opinion, really lie with the investigation. You want to have just a well-oiled machine from the top on down, that conversations can be had. Investigators can organically investigate their leads, not be told, you need to do this, you need to get this search warrant. Well, boss, I don't know if I should do that right now. I don't think I have enough. You'll do it because I told you so. That's not conducive for results. You might want those results, but you've got to let investigations work. And this is just a lot of ancillary things that are going on that are absolutely unnecessary for the investigators on the ground. And it's frustrating for the community. It's frustrating for the citizens of Pima County. I know it's frustrating for the men and women who are working it, because I hear it every day still. And there's so much more going on that is kind of being brought to light now.
And Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but on a previous show here, you said that there was a 98% vote of no confidence from within the department. Is that right?
That was from a few years ago, so I'll update you for today. The same union that did that vote represents approximately 300 and some odd detectives or deputies throughout the agency, the vast majority. Today, the same union released another vote of no confidence. This time it was, I'll give me a few seconds to break this down because it'll make more sense.
Yeah, please take your time.
It is no confidence / please resign. It is, I have confidence in you, please stay, or I will abstain from the vote. Those were the three options. It was unanimous. I'll look it up before it's over, but approximately 215 voted no confidence, resign. That's nearly half of the deputies, and that's only in one union. So there are other unions out there. There were 0 votes of confidence, please stick around and continue doing your job. And there were approximately 45 votes of I'm abstaining from this for whatever reason they abstained from the vote. And I think we could all understand probably why they did that. But think about this. 100% of the people who voted either stay and work or leave said, we no longer have confidence in you. Imagine being the manager of any corporation, of any business, and every single one of your employees didn't want you doing that job anymore. At some point, you have to have the self-awareness to look around, and instead of constantly blaming everyone else for the problems, blaming the previous sheriff for the jail falling apart, blaming an angry sergeant and he's leading the charge for all of these pitchforks against me. At some point, when it is unanimous, Joel, you know stats don't lie. There's probably a handful of people who would say, yes, I want him around, but it ain't going to change that much. Universally within the sheriff's department, no one has confidence that he can do the job anymore. You talk about coming to work every day and trying to do your best to solve a case like this under those circumstances. It's a factor that doesn't need to be part of the equation.
Yeah. Kurt, your reaction to, I'm sure you have heard this prior to being on the show right now, but your reaction to the fact that basically no one has confidence in the 45 who basically abstain, might be afraid that their votes might be seen. So what do you make of the fact that basically no one has confidence in this guy?
Oh yeah, most definitely the ones that abstained, did it out of fear and of retribution. And unfortunately that sucks. I'll get back to this real quick. I did see someone put something.
Okay, so as I was just saying, there is a recall, which we've talked about on this channel, and I'm sure you've heard about it. And Sheriff Nanos today is brought up at the Pima County Board of Supervisors meeting by at least 6 people. This is a stream by 857 Tucson, but he streamed the whole meeting. And the people that spoke were not all in order, they were spread out. So I've clipped just those that were speaking with respect to Sheriff Nanos for you to listen to now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chris Conniff.
This is the first guy up.
Good morning. I've spoken to you several times over the years about Sheriff Nanos. His horrific stewardship continues. I left 4 years ago. I don't even recognize the department. The people left. You have rookies training rookies. You continue to build houses and apartments in the county. They continue to lose bodies at the department. It's going to increase calls for service and inadequate coverage for our citizens. This department is being led by somebody that apparently started his whole career through lies, through a mission. He's wrapping up his career with perjury committed during a recent deposition concerning a sergeant with the department. It's hard to watch. It really is. I'm not sure who of you know someone in the department, but I know a lot of people still at the department, and it's troubling to say the least, and upsetting to me personally. It's gotten to the point where people just have no choice but to leave. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at them, they're not going to stay there under the current command staff. It's dire. I've sat here a couple different times when Sheriff Nanos has spoke, and he's not forthcoming about why people are leaving that place. It's gotten to the point where even local clowns are protesting his rule. And I don't see how the department can sustain itself. I really don't. I know there's a statute that you folks can enact, and I encourage you to do so and put him under oath. I know exactly what's going to happen, and I'm sure you have a pretty good guess what's going to happen as well. Thank you for your attention, and stop raising property taxes, please. Have a good day.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lori Moore. Oh, and I'll say, sorry, pardon me, Ms. Moore. The speakers after Ms. Moore are Aaron Cross, Corey Stevens, and Robert Royce. Let's go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Laurie Moore. Sheriff Nanos is currently in the process of being recalled. As a person helping to collect signatures, the mere mention of his name gets the clipboard snatched out of my hands, followed by, "Give me that. This guy has got to go." Most petition signers only know of Sheriff Nanos from the embarrassing reports on national news, excoriating him nightly for a pattern of amateurish missteps in the gruesome disappearance of Pima County resident Nancy Guthrie. This does not bode well for the leading law enforcement officer in Pima County or the people who gave him that job. The sheriff's well-documented history with the El Paso Police Department should have never granted him employment in the Pima County correctional system, much less the climb to sheriff. The signs were there if anyone bothered to look. For example, there is a record of disciplinary action, including a multiple-day suspension for police brutality. Mr. Nanos allegedly quit that department in lieu of being fired. More previous disciplinary actions overlooked on his application or never reported. The public deserves to know. Local law enforcement who have experienced Nanos firsthand overwhelmingly echo no confidence in him as a leader. That was evident when Pima County Sheriff Department deputies worked hard to get Sheriff Nanos defeated in the last election. Documentation shows that Nanos ran what appeared to be an unethical campaign when he suspended his opponent, the head of the Deputies Association, Heather Lappin. Because of his incompetence, lying under oath in a deposition, failed leadership, and improper vetting, he has hurt people's lives. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Aaron Cross.
Okay, Aaron Cross is the president of the Police
Good morning,
Association,
Board.
who's been moved.
I'm Sergeant Aaron Cross, President of the Pima County Deputies Organization.
Lower.
As many know, a reporter recently uncovered the long-hidden, terrible record of Sheriff Chris Nanos from his time as an El Paso police officer. This includes purportedly beating a handcuffed suspect in the head with a flashlight, for which he was suspended and nearly indicted. This record, if properly disclosed, would have likely prevented him from being hired or from becoming a peace officer in the state of Arizona. For over 40 years, this has been concealed from the department and the voters of Pima County. Because of this scandal, our organization, the largest union of deputies in Pima County, has taken a vote. We asked our members a clear question: confidence in Sheriff Nanos to continue in office, or no confidence and a call for his resignation. The verdict was unanimous: no confidence. He has lost the faith of his deputies and the community. His past renders him unfit to wear the badge. That he has concealed it for 40 years does not make the concealment right. It makes the fraud greater. The 300 deputies I represent speak with one voice. Chris Nanos must show the integrity he once swore to uphold. He must show the dignity that the office requires. He must resign. If he will not, then I ask this board, charged with oversight, to exercise every authority vested in you. The power of this board should be used, not for comfort, but for accountability. There are moments in the life of a community when those entrusted with authority must stand firm against those who abuse it. This is such a moment. We ask that this board have the courage to support Supervisor Hines' item. Pima County and the nation is watching. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Corey Stevens.
I'm here to ask that the entirety of this board support the measure to hold accountable, open an investigation, and to call to question by legal means, in fact, that Sheriff Nanos lied under oath in a sworn deposition about his previous work history and subsequent discipline thereof, which is misrepresentation of office. Misrepresenting background, one might be subject to criminal investigation or official misconduct proceedings, which can trigger vacancy. Facts: Chris Nanos' less than stellar 6-year career with El Paso PD earned him quite a rap sheet, earning 8 suspensions. Nanos resigned in lieu of termination, unfortunately found his way to Arizona. Questions that must be asked: in '83, when he was hired as a Pima County Corrections Officer, how did HR not vet him properly? A simple phone call to El Paso PD would have arguably deemed him unhireable. Were polygraphs part of the hiring process back in '83? Surely he would not have passed. This leaves us to where we are today. It's no secret the nation has eyes on Pima County. We have a sheriff who has numerous lawsuits, an FBI RICO investigation, deputy on deputy rape case, a pattern placing campaign opponents on leave. He has created a hostile work environment where in many cases officers or deputies question or disagree his actions or decisions. Retaliatory actions such as duty reassignment in most egregious circumstances, demotion are sure to follow. What is at stake? Officers and deputies have been and are leaving the department en masse. A once nationally revered department has now become a training facility for officers to join other departments and agencies in the area and state. Precious resources lost, financial, employee, and most importantly, the loss of human life itself. If he is willing to lie about his background, what else has he lied about in the past 40 years? It is on your onus to right the ship.
Thank you. After Mr. Robert Royce, we will hear from Mary Elizabeth Pollard, Reyes Suarez, and Jamal Gibbons. So, Mr. Royce.
I prepared a 3-minute political presentation. I'm not going to try to present it in 2 minutes. I'll just embarrass myself. I will present the essence of it at the next city council meeting in 3 minutes. But let me take this opportunity to endorse Mr. Gutierrez's recall petition. I sat in this room and watched Sheriff Napier stand at this spot 5 or 6 times. He was always serene, honest. There was no nervous energy. And he was very respectful of this board. And then I watch Sheriff Nanos. He's a bundle of nervous energy. He's totally disrespectful. The contrast was just unbelievable. And I never voted for Sheriff Nanos. So I endorse Mr. Gutierrez's petition. I'm going to be busy putting my own Jefferson party on the city ballot this year, which requires 2,000 signatures. So I won't be collecting signatures, but I will sign Mr. Gutierrez's petition, and I encourage everyone to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you've heard a few. I fast forwarded to the last several testimonials regarding the recall of Sheriff Chris Nanos in Pima County.
Our next 3 speakers are going to be David Smith, Betsy Smith, and Reed Sperling.
Well, good morning, both elected and unelected members of the Board of Supervisors, as well as the other employees, Jan, Sam, everybody. You know, we are, it's interesting because however you assume a position as a public servant, whether it's an elected position or an unelected position, I became a city police officer here 51 years ago. I swore my oath, and it was expected that I serve the community at large. We expect you to serve the community at large and be aware of the welfare of both the people who you may have been an activist for in the past, but you're now a proponent for, a servant to all members of this community. That said, I see you're going to talk about things today such as unpersoning Cesar Chavez. Unperson is, of course, an Orwellian term we saw in 1984, is to say he no longer existed, period. He's going to be gone, erased. But conversely, you can say, well, he was revered because there was good that he did. Conversely, across the street is a statue of a terrorist who killed many American citizens, untold peasants in Mexico, and yet Pancho Villa is still celebrated. I'd ask you to think about unpersoning him or rethinking how you unperson people. That said, we have a current public servant who needs to be reviewed intensely, and that public servant has let down not only his community, he's let down his responsibilities as a public servant to take care of his employees, to provide a service to this county. And by that, I mean our sheriff. And I have witnessed over the last couple months, as have you, not only his failure to communicate effectively, his words inarticulately terrorized the elderly community. And frankly, he has been a mismanager of everything he's touched. So while you think about who to unperson today, think about who you should follow up both in prosecution and condemnation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Betsy Smith.
Good morning, supervisors. Chris Nanos is an international embarrassment at this point. Now, I know that you guys didn't hire him. We elected him, unfortunately, but long before the Nancy Guthrie investigation, this man lied about his record to get hired at the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Recently, he lied under oath. And we know that he runs the Sheriff's Department with an iron fist. his employees. We have one in the room today. Sergeant Aaron Cross has been absolutely abused by this man. Lieutenant Heather Lappin, who had the audacity to run against him for sheriff, was abused to the point that even though she was wildly well-educated and well-informed and so qualified for her job, that she fled to another police department where frankly they pay her better and treat her so much better. Women have been abused under this man. This county has been abused under this man. You hold the power to do something about it, and the residents of Pima County deserve for you to do that. Please consider doing what Dr. Hines has done and putting public safety over political party, and do everything you can to get this man investigated and removed from office. Thank you.
Thank you. After Mr. after Reed Sperling, we will hear from John Anderson.
Sorry, this guy is not relevant, so we're going to fast forward again. And I just want to say, they're talking about them having the power to investigate him, and that's what I opened up with. Will they have the courage to do this remains to be seen. But at the very end of the meeting, when they're recapping what to put next on the agenda, not one of the chair committee talks about readdressing the Nanos issue. So time will tell. This is today's meeting, Tuesday, March 24th. Just finished, and might still be running at the end of the meeting, but the statements have just finished. I'm going to move to the last one or two for you here, and you tell me whether you think they'll have the courage to do something about it. Let's listen to the last. I think there's one or two, and the very last one is super interesting as well. Okay, I stand corrected. This is last but not least the final statement in the meeting.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Kevin Kubitsky.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Kevin Kubitsky. I was asked to come down and speak, so forgive me, I wrote this pretty quick. Members of the board, I'm here to address leadership failure at its highest level in the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the need for independent review. This is about trust. When leadership loses it, the entire system weakens. Over a year ago, I submitted a public records request to the Sheriff's Department. It remains unanswered. Arizona law requires a prompt response. The failure alone raises concern. Before that request was, I was contacted by Internal Affairs at the direction of Sheriff Christopher Nanos and questioned about my political affiliation. I was asked whether I supported Heather Lappin and whether I had contact with Sergeant Aaron Cross. That line of questioning had nothing to do with misconduct. It had everything to do with politics. I raised objections. I stated clearly that Internal Affairs was being used improperly. I filed a complaint. I reported that I felt targeted and harassed. That complaint was dropped. No investigation, no outside review, no accountability. Shortly after, Aaron Cross and Heather Lappin were placed on administrative leave. That sequence matters. You cannot use Internal Affairs as a political tool. It destroys credibility. It chills speech. It creates culture of fear. Leadership is not situational. You do not turn it on and off. Inside the department, the message is clear. Deputies feel constrained. They fear retaliation. They are not operating with confidence. They're operating under pressure. This is not rumor. This is consistent feedback. The largest deputy organization has already taken a position, unanimous support for further scrutiny. This is not isolated. There are patterns mirror past conduct tied to federal RICO scrutiny in this county. When patterns repeat, you do not ignore them, you investigate them. Probable cause does not expire. The statute of limitations does not erase underlying conduct. When credibility concerns persist, the duty to act remains. I am asking for 3 actions. Initiate an independent investigation outside of Pima County, refer this matter to the U.S. Department of Justice for review, and force compliance with the public records law immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you.